Hi, good evening. And I'm going to talk about my healing gift, about my family and the uses of these gifts. In the late 1800s, my granny, my granduncle would have practiced these healing gifts in the local communities. Old Granny Lennon would practice her healing gift and she could cure many, many ailments, from warts to ringworms, leg ulcers. She could stop the bleeding as well. And she would use all the old Irish cures going back to perhaps biblical times, using healing methods that are now almost forgotten. On the other hand, my granduncle, he could stop the bleeding and he could cure wounds that were almost impossible, I suppose, in those days. He could also cure animals. And this was part, of course, of our culture during that era when doctors were in short supply. These methods of healing were used across Ireland. Healers in that area could be seen picking strange type of herbs, perhaps in the hedgerows, late in the evening when the dew was on the ground. This was for maximum effect, or in the early morning before sunrise. Animals could be cured using similar methods. Remember, all of these cures were handed down from male to female, female to male, and used by gifted people across the country. I remember a member of my family had joined us at 16, and obviously she was brought to the local doctor, and the doctor sent her to the local healer to get a bottle. And I think the bottle at that time cost £0.50. How much is £0.50 worth today? I can and do use all these methods from time to time. In modern times, when we're under pressure every day, it's difficult to make up these herbal tonics and rubs. For example, to make a bottle to cure, say, IBS would take many, many days to gather, to prepare, to boil the herbs maybe for 4 hours, and this work is very, very time consuming, and one has to be very, very focused and dedicated to do this work. And you cannot be under pressure every day and do this work. And that's why the old healers could work at their leisure to prepare these cures and treatments. A lot of your comments about doing this type of work, healing work for free, doesn't work anymore because of the time that it takes to pick those herbs and to, at the right time of day, and to be in the right frame of mind to do it. That was possible perhaps in old Granny's time, but people were cured and helped And of course, in turn, they helped members of old Granny's family, for example. And it's perhaps difficult now for the younger folk to visualize the problems and this problems that old people were confronted with at that time. And people that were healed and cured, of course, would give their help and offer their help to the healer. For example, they would maybe help to save the hay, help with animals, help with firewood. And when I can do all these cures and a lot more, it is so time consuming that it's not viable anymore. Have any of you heard of the cure for the mote in the eye? The mote in the eye is a piece of perhaps wood, sand, thorn, whatever, that would affect the eye very much if it wasn't removed, and some of the old healers could do that at a distance. They can do it today, so can I. Have you heard of the cure for the worm? Worms played a very, very important role at the time when there was no antibiotics. There were old healers that could work with and cure the problems created by the worm. Read about it, maybe in some of the old herbal books. Also, to stop the bleeding. There were people who could do that. I can do that. So can hundreds and thousands of others across Ireland do that today. You know, our medical system spends perhaps millions of euros to stop bleeding, internal and otherwise. But yet there are hundreds and hundreds of people across Ireland who can do this today. I use this gift hundreds and hundreds of times every year to cure and stop the bleeding in both humans and animals. And this method that I talk about, how does it work? What does it actually do to stop and coagulate the blood? Well, maybe that's the purpose of another discussion. Shingles, ringworms, warts, skin diseases can also be cured in this way. These gifts are in my family and I use them every day. While I practice these healing gifts, my healing took a different course, a different direction which people are not familiar with. Please understand that my gift is not a therapy. You cannot learn how to do this. I've had people come to me after years of being treated with different therapies, and after a few sessions they were well again. I was chosen to do this particular job and to help those who are ready and willing to accept it. I can tune in to a person and make my own diagnosis of that person's illness, of their intentions and their thoughts towards me. It also allows me to treat all illness. I have the ability to work on their illness and bring about a cure if it's for their greater good and benefit. This differs greatly from the simple everyday cures that we are familiar with. This type of work that I do takes a lifetime of experience and has to be safeguarded by special methods which I cannot share with you. It involves working at a deep level with the divine. This particular depth of healing is time-consuming and it's life-consuming. And it takes serious and special work to take a person out of a coma, for example. The good Lord has done this through me in the past. Michelangelo had a special gift of painting, and so did Caravaggio and hundreds of others. And they came to this earth to do a special job. So did I. There are always going to be critics out there. A critic is someone who hasn't the ability to do anything themselves, but criticizes and begrudges others who can. Well, they don't matter. We have 700 to 800, maybe 900 videos showing different healings. All these videos are true and give an account of the patient's progress after healing. There are hundreds and hundreds of others who haven't been documented but nonetheless are true and genuine. I suppose there's a secrecy about healing and cures that I don't understand. My hope is that those of you who have the ability to use these gifts, use them for the benefit of others. There are those of you, very few, fortunately, out there with bitter tongues and poison pens, with bitterness in your hearts and in your life. And I hope that listening to this little video will change your mindset and make you a better person. So now you know a little about my gift, going back to biblical times and before. Herbs were used, as you know, hundreds and thousands of years ago, and they worked then. And they still work. But there's another matter I'd like to discuss with you, and that is about our charity. We've opened a charity in America in the aftermath of travelling for 5 years in the southern hemisphere, in the jungles of Guatemala, Belize, Mexico, the Caribbean, Argentina, Brazil, Chile, and back to America and Canada, where we've opened the charity, as I said, and it's now going in the right direction. We'll give you some info on that as it unfolds. Our travels for 5 years in the southern hemisphere brought us in contact with the most horrendous illness imaginable. Very little health care, very little food, shelter. People live in shacks, and they appreciate very much the work we do. While we worked in the more rural areas of the world, we found that people didn't have money to offer us. They didn't have food. We supported them with both healing and food, and we helped children in need who had no uniforms for school, and we supplied uniforms and school supplies out of our own pocket. And while we worked there, we never got a cent, because the people couldn't afford it. They couldn't even afford a cup of coffee. Well, that was okay, and that was one of the reasons that initiated our charity, to help those. We have a project in Ghana, near the Cameroon, and it's a support. It's a centre for 170 people, I think. And we would like to further donate and support that project. That project, among others, across the world. We've been offered 4 clinics, one in Germany, one in the UK, one in New Zealand, and one in America. For one in Ireland, but we can't find as yet. What we're actually looking for is a venue that would hold about 400 people, and obviously parking space, accommodation, food, and of course, as you probably know, many of you, on open days in the past, we'd have maybe 50, 60, 70 people in wheelchairs. Others would fly in from different countries and need accommodation. So if any of you out there would like to help us in that direction, we'd be very pleased and willing to do some open days. Let me tell you a little about our open days. We did an open day, I think, in Dominican Republic, and we had between 80 and 83,000 people tune in. Now this is a serious venue, serious to set up, which is very, very time consuming. Obviously, we have to have specialized equipment, which is expensive, to do this work. We have to have advice from IT. We have our lawyers and our accountants and people to facilitate and support us on this journey. And that all cost money. We do these and did these for free in the past. And I suppose before we finish, I'd like to perhaps do a little healing with you. Obviously, from the past, you understand what you need to do. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, let me tell you that you first need to relax. Relaxation is very important for healing. What else is important? Belief. You've got to believe that the good Lord is the one doing the healing. Sometimes people come to me and say, look, if you can heal me, I will believe in what you do. And I say, well, look, I think best thing for you to do is back to your doctor. So one has to have belief. After all, it's your illness. I want to support you and help you with your illness. And so you need to relax, to absorb the healing. And as we work together, you will find that you may feel heat in your body somewhere. You may feel cold. You may feel vibration. Some people say, well, I don't feel anything. Well, then you need to relax and to tune in. And if you are willing to be helped, you will follow these simple instructions. So let's start. As we start, I pick up the vibrations necessary in order to do this little session. And I hope you benefit as well. So turn down your TV, close your door, and relax. Send me a text afterwards and tell me how you feel, how you felt during the session. I pick up hundreds, thousands, different vibrations as we go through this session. I feel your emotions, your pain, your anxiety. And I suppose we're dealing with a lot of pain in the aftermath of COVID, with a lot of pain and suffering due to events in this troubled world. So tell me by text later what you feel. Close your eyes and focus your attention within yourself. Ask the good Lord to relieve your pain and to help you with your illness. Well, thank you for participating. Sometimes we get feedback saying, I've had a session with Matthew and I feel no better. Well, having one session maybe is not enough. If you have serious illness, maybe you need to follow up with further sessions. You decide. You decide what you need. I also wanted to mention about your food, your habits. Let your food be your medicine. And if that is the case, and it is, you should eat sensibly, with junk out. I remember working with some people and when I asked what food and what do you take, some would say they take substance, but they're not willing to give it up. Yet they want help. The substance or the overindulgence will be the cause, perhaps, of their problem. And in order to get benefit from our work, you need to work with us and quit the junk. And let us end, and let me wish you all a pleasant evening and a blessed day every day. Thank you for your